I don't know who is in this movie. I don't know anything about it. I'm going in totally blind.
My mind's completely open. I have no idea what I'm going into. I just hope it's somewhat close to the book.
I don't know quite what to expect. It could be glorious, could be beautiful, but I don't know. Might not be.
Plot, character, and setting. Maybe theme and conflict.
I don't know. Christopher Nolan does some pretty good stuff, so I'm excited, and I'm most excited to see how they portray Penelope, because I hope she's a strong character, but we'll see what they do.
Welcome to Classical Etc. You're in the studio with Memoria Press.
Welcome back to another episode of Classical Etc. I'm Jessica Aboud, and I am here with the core of four, who are a lively bunch today.
Well, Paul looked at the camera, and I was impressed with that.
That's right. Yeah, we got to give you credit now.
I'm trying not to, but because apparently I'm the odd man out. I know. Now I'm self-conscious about it.
Were you here the week that I told Paul, somebody told me that at the California convention, I think, that Paul is the only one of us that never looks at the camera, and that I should tell him to look at the camera?
I never look at the camera.
Apparently you do.
So she didn't make it up for lost time.
Paul out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Paul?
I don't know. I think I'm working on my Jim Halpert impression of like just staring at the camera every once in a while.
I don't know who that is.
That would be kind of profound in some moments, I think.
Could be.
That's funny. Well, if you caught one of our most recent episodes, we discussed Homer's Odyssey, the translations, Homer, the complicated man. And last night, we all went to see Christopher Nolan's movie, and we are here to talk about it. Fair warning, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't want any spoilers, take a break and come back once you've watched it. But I know we're itching to get to it, but I guess we have to talk about what we're reading first. So,
yes,
everybody, what are you reading?
I just finished The Great Divorce for Margin Notes, and I'm going to be reading The End of the Affair.
Again?
Well, yeah, I need to refresh.
How many times have you read that now?
I think only once.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I think so.
I would have thought you would have already reread it.
No, I mean, I just kept reading more and more Graham Greene stuff.
So when we read it, you were reading it the first time.
And then, but I wasn't the one that suggested it. Luke suggested it. So I said, great, let's do it.
Has he read it?
He has read it.
Okay. Interesting. That'll be a good one.
It'll be a good one. So anyway, that's this weekend's project.
That's one I think is worth rereading in different seasons of your life.
Yes.
Because Luke, as a young man, he's probably young 20s. You know, when he's 40, he might feel very differently about it or pick up different things. So it's an interesting one to read young and then read later.
As was The Great Divorce. I mean, Great Divorce, when I read it, I remember reading it about their age, and I was like, I mean, it's interesting. But then like rereading it now, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I started tearing up at one point. So I actually said, and Martin, Tanya, you're going to be surprised that, I'm not the biggest C.S. Lewis fan, but that one hit me.
Yeah. Really?
That one hit me.
It's on my list. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
It's short. You could read it in
a day.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to read The Abolition of Man, and I'm finding that slow going. I think it feels to me like the beginning of Orthodoxy, where I'm not just getting the context really, because it's based on, I don't know. I'll let you know. But I'm reading that. And I'm also reading The Natural History of Dragons, which one of our conference attendees gave me, yes. And I see why I don't like fantasy at all. And here we go to talk about the Odyssey.
That's not fantasy. Lord have mercy. Okay, anyway, keep
fantasy,
going.
I mean, it has made up creatures and things that are fantasy. I mean...
Does that mean like an existential moment?
You're bumming out Paul here.
Anyway, we'll get to that later. I see why she thinks I would like this, and it's because of the main character, who is very much a woman of her time who, just doesn't settle for being a woman doing social things, taking care of the house, but really wants more, wants education. So I get that. But like the made up names and the dragon attacks and all, I mean, that all is not my thing. But I do, it is a very strong female character. And so I am enjoying that part of it. I just, do you have to make up names of countries? Oh. And I'm reading a book
Those are
by
all
James Lee
tip-offs.
Burke, which I am not recommending this book. I am not recommending it.
I'm sorry, what book was this?
It's a book by James Lee Burke. It's the newest Dave Robichaux.
Oh, really?
Yes. I like him a lot. But he is not for the weak-hearted.
No,
It's very violent. All of his books are violent, and they have mature content.
Just to clarify, those books are a series of books. I think did I recommend those?
Absolutely. I am reading him because of you. I give you total blame. But I do want...
But you've read all of them. You're blaming me, but you've read all of them.
But here's the thing, is they're detective mysteries,
Yes.
but they are...
Pretty.
He is so educated and he's so wise. And so I keep thinking, why am I reading this? It's so violent and just really raw. But then I read things like, I'm going to read you just what he says. Just one line. All of a sudden you get these lines in here. Evil requires support and consent and organization. It doesn't create itself. And then, it's just things like that all of a sudden are in there. He's just brilliant, really.
He's a Catholic writer, but his character, Dave Robichaux, which I think is just an utterly compelling character, he's tempted by alcohol and violence. And so it's not portrayed as good. It's a flaw. It's a character flaw, but
Which he
does present it.
Yes,
so, yeah.
it's. I don't know why I like them, but it's lines
How many of them?
like
Okay,
that.
you read this.
I've read every one.
How many of them are there?
Oh, 20?
Yeah, she's read 20 some of them.
Oh, yeah. And I'm still questioning.
Tanya, you said that right after I looked at you. I'm not judging you. You started off with not for the weak-hearted or something, and I think that's maybe what I am, because first one I tried, I threw out the window. So I just did not appreciate it.
I find them utterly compelling myself too.
Pure entertainment.
And again,
a recommendation.
The point, there is, you have books that the content is rough, but the point is utterly good.
He spends a lot of time, talking about the fallen world.
Yes, it's a fallen world.
And he spends a lot of time criticizing what's happened in Louisiana, especially, with the hurricane and the way things were handled. And he cares very much about his state, James Lee Burke. And so there is a lot of things about, the use of the land and the corrupt government and those things that affect people. But in the end,
it's not his handling of the truth. It's the truths he's relating that are the difficult things, the way the world really is.
He's a great writer.
Well, Martin, what's on your nightstand?
I've been so exhausted by all these conferences and all the 20 speeches I had to give over a 2-week period. And so I can't remember the last one I finished. And maybe it was Dominion. We talked about that in the last show. So I just needed something
light.
Well, yeah, but if you can call a thriller, I mean, I'll just go for a thriller.
You were going for an entertainment.
I'm going for pure entertainment, nothing philosophical. I just want a good story, and so I finished David Baldacci, very popular thriller writer. I finished his Will Roby series, which I really liked. And I've been trying to find another one, and I'm in the second attempt now, and it's just not clicking for me. And by the middle of the second book, or the middle of the book,
Who's the author?
David Baldacci.
Oh, you mean the second series by him?
Well, I don't know what series it is. He's got a lot of series out there, and they're very highly rated. And I love a good yarn, and he can write them. But I haven't, on the one I'm trying now, I'm not sure I'm going to continue that. I might try another one.
I don't hear you say that very often.
What?
That you can't get into it.
Oh, no, there's a lot of
There's
books.
a lot
I just don't talk about them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I am going to bring you, I started The Women.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about not being able to get. I did not like it.
Really?
I know. I'm the only person in the world. So many people have recommended this book to me, but it is so modern.
You're talking about the Vietnam book?
Yes. And so by
Really?
Kristen Hanna.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it to you. You can have it.
I already read it. You know that, right?
You already read it.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
liked
I blazed
it.
through it.
Everybody liked it. Everybody liked it.
I did the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And that was easier, probably. I did half of it or so through audio, and then the rest of it, I finished the actual physical book. But
and then I started another book that somebody told me about. Something about her name. In the title is Eleanor Oliphant, I think.
Oh, that's a more modern one. I've heard of it, but I've never. I don't know anything about it.
So I have quit 2 books as well.
That's quite a step from James Lee Burke.
I know. I was looking for light. I was looking for entertaining because we are, work stressed right now. And so I did need something light. But honestly, I just feel like I need to go back to Dickens. I just feel like I don't do light well, but I am enjoying James Lee Burke.
Last night at the library, I picked up Land by Maggie O'Farrell.
Yes.
It's her newest one. I was 67th in line when it came out, and now I'm finally up for it.
Somebody
and I have
just read that and told me they did not like it.
A lot of people are, but
Wait, what's the name again?
Land. She's the one who wrote Hamnet. She wrote A Marriage Portrait. I'm sure she's written more, but this one is her most recent. It just came out, and I am excited. Although a lot of people are saying it just gets long.
Right.
Are you looking at the third
Paul's
wall?
looking askance.
I'm just over here minding my own business.
I think it was Catherine that told me she didn't like it.
Yeah, Kaylee's reading it too.
Is she? Oh,
And she had to put it
interesting.
down. She was like, "Eh." So, I don't know. But it just seems like you can. There are always people who like and don't like
That's
something.
right.
So I thought I would give it a try for myself.
Paul didn't like James Lee Burke.
Yeah, that's right.
Martin and I love him.
That's right. All right, on to the show. The Odyssey, the movie. So before we get analytical, I want to start with our gut. One word. What's the one word that comes to your mind after seeing it?
Violence.
Sensory overload.
Yes.
That's 2, but
Yes, but that's
concept.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's too much. I mean, and seeing it on that IMAX screen, why we did that, I don't know. But it was
it wasn't technically the IMAX 70, but it was like a bigger than normal screen. So it was close to IMAX, something like that. Yeah.
Right in your face violence. And that's my main thought about it is that I think, the retelling of the story, fine. I didn't have any problems with anything except I think when you read a book, you can use your imagination as much or as little as you would like. But when it's in front of you, you cannot get away from it. Yeah. I mean, I finally, that scene with the cattle, when I knew that all the men were going to die, I just went to the restroom and I just stood outside the door until all the noise died down and I knew it was done. I just had enough by then. I could not do another scene like that.
My word was whoa. That's how I felt. Martin, what's your word?
Compelling.
Huh. Okay, so we all kind of got one thing and Martin got another.
And I would clarify, I mean, when I say sensory overload, like it wasn't the violence that was actually overloading for me. It was the sound and the visual that was overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
I think I would have had a very different experience watching it on my TV at home.
I agree.
I walked out of there and I could barely talk because I just my senses have been overloaded for 3 hours.
I think we all just came back and didn't talk.
Yeah.
The rest of the day.
Yeah,
we were just like,
okay. But Martin was compelled. Does Martin want to elaborate?
Art?
Martin would love to elaborate. Martin will continue to talk about himself in the third person. Okay. So here's what I said before seeing the movie. Okay, and on my social media, I said, a book such as Homer's Odyssey, like any book, can be rendered faithfully into a good movie, faithfully into a bad movie, unfaithfully into a good movie, or unfaithfully into a bad movie. I'm going to see it and decide which of these 4 it turns out to be. And I think it was I actually think it was a great movie. I think the way Christopher Nolan told the story, I found was incredible. I mean, having to do all the, well, we'll talk about it later. But
Yeah.
but that there were parts which were unfaithful to Homer's original.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So,
But they weren't egregious. I didn't.
oh no,
think.
I think some of them were egregious.
Do
I think
you?
Paul-
Yeah. So hold on. So are you then saying that you would put it in the unfaithfully but a good movie?
Yes.
Because that I would agree
That's
with that.
good.
That's
That's
where I would
helpful.
put it.
That's
is-
helpful.
is
But I think those
unfaithful,
are
but a
two
good movie.
different judgments.
Mhm.
One's an
Yeah.
aesthetic judgment,
Mm-hmm.
and one's a more kind of epistemological judgment.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because
That's true.
I thought if I hadn't read Homer's Odyssey and I was just watching the movie, I thought this is a compelling movie.
Mhm.
It's a great. It tells a good story. You know, it's interesting, visually well done, good actors, whatever.
Mhm.
But because I'd read the book, I was upset about some things.
Sure.
Because I didn't think it was faithful on those things. So
Did he do Odysseus justice? Do you think so?
I don't
Okay,
think
I
so.
think this to me is the central
Mhm.
unfaithful problem.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking that
Okay.
could be.
Yes, because he's modern. He's post-Christian.
Yes.
Do you think are we supposed to believe, having read the book, if you just read the book, would you have come away thinking he was that reflective? I thought they painted him as pretty.
No.
Okay, that's what
Classical
my big
heroes are
takeaway from
not very
Odysseus was like, was he that internally
Yeah.
introspective?
Well, but classical literature and classical heroes, they're not like often asking the question of like what's going on in their head, right? We're seeing their
They're
great
not.
deeds.
Exactly. They're
Right,
not
we're not.
self-reflective.
You know, it's.
That's right.
I mean, Shakespeare's Hamlet, I think, is really where things take a shift in literature.
That's what Harold Bloom says. He's the first.
Oh.
Hamlet is the first character in literature to talk to himself.
Yeah, I'm in good company, I guess.
It's last night. My husband was asking me about it, and he said, "Was it your typical Christopher Nolan main character?" And I said, "I don't know anything about Christopher Nolan or who his main characters were." And he said, "Well, you know, he did that Batman, and his characters are always dark and
Brooding.
somber, brooding."
Mhm.
And I said, "That's exactly what
Mhm.
Odysseus
Mhm.
became."
Yes.
And when I read, you know, the Iliad and the Odyssey, I did not see that at all.
No.
But it didn't bother me because I did know it was just a modern retelling.
And I think that's. I made a comment to I don't know who it was yesterday, where I said what I would like to do is go read Homer's Odyssey again, even though I've gone through it recently, but I want to do it again, having watched the movie, and then go watch the movie again.
Oh gosh.
And I don't have the time for this, but this I think would be an interesting exercise, and identify everywhere where it diverges, and then when you have those divergences, to actually, in very specific ones, then say, was this a divergence that had to be done because it's a different medium of telling the story? Or is this a divergence because it's a modern telling of the story? And then it would actually be a very interesting picture of what we as moderns are telling ourselves about ourselves.
Sure.
With the contrast of the classic and the classical and the modern.
Well, maybe somebody who hasn't seen it yet will do that.
Maybe. I think it would be a very interesting list.
Well, and then you could separate out and say, oh, I guess you could do this either way. Am I going to appreciate the film as a piece of art
Right.
that is just one person's
Yeah, if there had been no Odyssey book, and this was a new story, what would we think of it?
I would walk out at the Cyclops. I'd just be done. I'd be like, this is not a movie for me.
It isn't. It is common for great stories to have spin-offs by other people
Oh,
and their
absolutely.
own interpretations or their own maybe magnifying of a
and
character.
this
That happens.
This is another key point, I think, is this is not the first time this has happened.
That's what I'm saying.
It happens.
That's
it's
what I mean.
Always retellings of things, and they always reflect some new spin on it. And I would bet that if we want to condemn it for deviating from, at least for me, Odysseus' character. But you go back and I can find 12 movies I've seen that do that, and I've loved them, and I haven't prosecuted them for not being totally faithful to the original work.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, here we were celebrating Galahad and the Grail recently, which is a retelling of a classic story,
Good
right?
point. Good point.
And so, but to me, and this gets back to Time's point about just the main character Nolan tends to put out there right? There is a value in having a hero that is a hero, that you know, doesn't feed into our modern self-doubt and anxieties and angst. And that's just not, this movie doesn't offer that to the viewer.
Because I really thought it would be Odysseus as larger than life hero.
Right.
Not conflicted.
Full of regret, angst, angst.
All the modern
He really was at
Yes.
the end.
Oh.
Maybe not angst, but he was discouraged.
And the other thing that, you know, and it's interesting hearing our conversations because I'm hearing Dan Scheffler's voice in my head because he had a very different take than the rest of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But one of my critiques is that I didn't feel like they did the gods well. And I want to go back, like, this is another thing I would want to watch when I rewatch it, if I rewatch it, is Athena often appears to Odysseus, but I don't think she ever gives him counsel.
She doesn't.
And
she just looks at him.
Right. and so you
and I
don't,
wanted to see Poseidon.
Well, yeah.
I mean, wanted to see Poseidon.
Dan liked that you didn't see Poseidon as a
but it was
human form.
It was a force.
It was a force. He did like that.
Yeah.
But and I can appreciate that. I think that's fine. But the reality is the gods were not really portrayed at all as having any influence in their lives, either through counsel or through action. And so, but that's the modern secularism and the modern retelling, right? Like they had to do it in some way because it's in the Odyssey, right? But it was
is
very
that not reading into ancient religion, our own Christian assumptions about God? I mean, did ancient gods really counsel? I don't.
According to Homer, yes. I mean, Homer's got Athena telling Telemachus exactly what to do, going beside him, appearing when he needs advice and giving it to him. She's all through there.
They guide. Do they counsel?
Yes.
Because she tells him, like, this is what you should do. And then he goes and does it, right? And she accompanies him while he does it, right? Like, she's really, like, Odysseus does not get home without Athena.
Right.
And like, there was no portrayal of that the gods had to go convince Calypso to let him go. Right.
The Calypso stuff that was totally different.
Calypso is portrayed as a positive character in the movie. Yeah. And she's not in the book. But again, that's one of those things, like, how much, it was 3 hours, right? I mean, sensory overload because it's 3 hours, right?
There were lots of things left out. My favorite scene was left out.
Which was what?
when, and I don't remember what island it was where he's shipwrecked on this island, or I don't remember what happens, but there's some the people there take him in and they set him down by a fire, and they've heard his story.
Oh, he tells the whole story.
And this blind bard, and he's troubled. He is troubled, but this blind bard gets up and sings his story, and it's a balm to him. And I just think that's an incredible scene.
They were just telling the story through visual. So
but I just think that whole scene to me was just,
I agree.
How we are comforted in some way by knowing where we are in our own story. There's something about the narrative that is therapeutic.
Which is, I think I talked about that the first time we did the first Odyssey, when we just talked about the book, not the movie. And I said, it's like, maybe it wasn't here. Like when, before Moses dies, when he gives the whole history to his people, he gives them their story orally. And Paul does it several times. He's like, listen, and here's the whole story. And for Paul, it then leads to Christ. And I think Peter might do it too.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's that keeping that fresh.
And knowing that you are in a larger narrative, which gives your actions and your thoughts meaning.
Yes, but I don't see how they could have done it.
No,
in
and
the
I'm
movie.
I'm just saying that's one of my
That
favorite
was
parts of the
missing.
Odyssey, and they didn't have that. Big and right, 2.5 hours. There's only so much you can include, and if you try to stuff too much into 2.5 hours, then it
It
becomes
was almost
less.
3 hours.
Was it 3 hours?
It was
Well,
10 minutes short of 3 hours.
okay, that's fine. Whatever. But even you could tell the story in 8 hours, the full story.
Right.
I'd like to ask a question. So
I thought we weren't allowed to.
I'll allow it.
Thank you, Jess. So I don't think in Homer's Odyssey that Odysseus ever regrets the plan of the Trojan horse.
This is my question if you're going there. Oh, I've had it in my mind. I talked to Dan about it this morning.
Okay. But given that this is a modern retelling, Odysseus only feels bad about that in a world in which he can recognize the Trojans as the other, right? And in a world in which he recognizes that he uses the Trojans' religiosity, he uses their inmost part of their being, which should be sacred, to trick them. And
Well, he also feels bad about all of the violence and the way that women were mistreated.
yeah, but his speech at the end was like, we started tearing down civilization because we trespassed on that idea of
Odysseus' law.
Of Zeus's law.
Zeus's law, sorry.
That wasn't, no, those are two different things, because right, Zeus's law is supposed to be hospitality, and
But
his speech to Penelope, he's clearly talking about the Trojan horse, right? Which is that's not anything having to do with hospitality. They were trying to honor Athena
Is it not?
as who helped them win the war. Like, those are two separate things, I think, in my mind. But my question here is the sort of the modern impulse to see even the enemy as the other.
The other in the positive way.
In a positive way, right? That we should...
Another human being.
As another human being, we should respect them. Okay, maybe there are enemies, but there's some dignity to this other person that the Greeks can't have that, but as Christians, we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's a Christian impulse.
And you even wonder, was the movie anti-war?
Oh yeah, I think
I think
it is,
because he in the end he says, like, we were the people from the sea, the people that were feared, and we went in and did that, and so he bears all this regret.
Right.
Can I read what this bears on this point?
Are you
going to
read your own stuff again?
No, this is a quote I have in my stuff.
Okay.
Okay. This is Emily Wilson's comment on the movie, and she says, "The film presents an Odysseus who feels very bad about things that he's done in war and is struggling to process them in a very modern psychiatrized way and needs drugs to do so. He seems to feel bad about being a warrior, and we never actually see him get to do much warrioring." Also not a word. Nolan makes the protagonist a likable all-American hero. Homer's Odysseus wants glory, and he wants to get spoils from the sack of a city. He's not second-guessing himself.
Right.
That's right.
I kept looking in vain for a sense that this was a film about glory. This is a film that has an interest in shame, but I don't think it has any interest in glory.
She's right.
She, of course, she again, for our audience, is the most
Newest
recent translator of
translator.
and it's the version that I think this movie was based on.
He mentions that he used part, or it was influenced.
So I just thought that was an interesting.
I think that's interesting. Now, also, I wanted to bring up the introduction, the little title screen that said, I think, in a time of apparent magic. Did y'all catch that?
I did at the time, but then I forgot.
I didn't catch that. Apparent magic.
And I actually Googled around looking for the exact words, because when I saw that, I was like, I need to remember that, but I wasn't going to whip out my phone and type it down. Right? I'm trying to respect Tanya next to me, that I'm not, using my phone in the theaters.
Well, Jess wouldn't have minded, because she sat there for half the film going like,
I couldn't watch it. She did. She was like, I didn't watch any of that.
But I thought that was interesting, of not, like, it almost was like trying to pull it out of the real world. Like Homer is really trying to set this in the world, right? There may be these fantastic things that go on. That's why I don't think it's fantasy. But Homer's very clearly putting it in place for the Greeks, right? This is in our world. And like, I felt like that title screen immediately yanked it out of our world and said, there's no way that this could happen, which I thought was interesting.
Was that because of the gods? Because of the inclusion of the gods and goddesses?
There was a lot of supernatural in the book and the movie.
Right.
And I don't know what your definition of fantasy is, but I think made up creatures and made up places is fantasy.
Well,
what do you think fantasy is?
I think that's quasi-fantasy because I think for most people, a fantasy takes place in a different world than ours.
Oh,
There's no crossover.
Narnia.
Like you can go to the place of Ithaca.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah,
So it
you can
takes
go to
place
Troy.
in the real world. They're fantastic events, but they're in the real world.
And so they aren't fantasy?
Well, it's an element of fantasy, but I think primarily it's still a story about the world you as the reader are in.
Which this is an interesting conversation, right? Because for years, for centuries, Westerners reading Homer were thinking this really is fantasy because there was no place called Troy, right?
Oh, and
then until it was a Heinrich Schliemann who finds the ruins of Troy. And all of a sudden I'm like, I think it completely changes the way the ancients, now can perceive the ancients hearing this story is, like their great-great-grandfathers probably were in this war, right? When, and so that's why I don't like, I don't think that it was originally the story was being told as something outside the world, because there are, like, for the ancients, there's plenty of crazy things out there they can't explain, right? Scylla and Charybdis, right? Like okay, you've got a whirlpool and you've got, a monster, but
the whirlpool I'm okay with. The monster, fantasy.
Or like it's their way of explaining, like either way you go, there's going to be loss, right?
Yeah.
And
but they're using a monster to explain
They
that.
are using a monster to explain it, but that doesn't remove the reality that there was a physical place probably that they considered
like the Bermuda
there's
Triangle.
no way to get through, right? Without some loss. And so that's why I kind of push back on this. I don't like the word fantasy, because I think fantasy in modern terms is completely other.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I don't read fantasy, so it's hard to know if it's complete. Like, is Game of Thrones completely other, or is it based on Earth?
Well, I think
don't
there's
know.
places, there's not real places, and I mean I've not read Game of Thrones or watched it, but my understanding is there's no place names that are actually in Earth, right? And
It's Earth-like, but it's not necessarily Earth.
Right. It's just like Middle Earth, right?
Yeah.
Like it's Earth-like, but it's intended to be completely separate with separate rules about what is
Like Lord of the Rings.
that I would put that fully in the fantasy genre. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
What was your favorite scene? Tanya, I can't even think of one thing.
The scene where the soldiers come out of the ground.
Oh, Hades.
Hades was my
the Hades
favorite.
scene was
that
Hades
your
was my
favorite too?
favorite.
Oh, I thought that was so well done. And
Yes.
that's where you didn't get these, like the way they spoke, there were no anachronisms in that scene. That's one of the things that made it great, where there was all kinds of anachronisms.
But they left Achilles
Dad,
out.
he calls his father Dad.
I guess they didn't have time.
And at one point Odysseus talks about the falling of the age of bronze that we are in. Like,
how would you? Yeah,
what in
how
the
could
world?
you know that?
but no, I did think Hades was well done, because I was like, how in the world are they going to portray that? I
Right.
thought they did a good job of that.
Right.
But my favorite, not scene, but phrase was when Odysseus, when Telemachus is trying to get him to come in as king, and he says, no, I'm coming in as a beggar because you know, like, the measure of a man better from the bottom than from the top. And that hit me. I was like, that is so wise. That it's really how we treat the lesser that shows who we are.
I think even at the end of the thing, even 3 hours in, when I knew Odysseus was not the character I expected him to be, I still was looking for that really great scene where he strings the bow, and he just, I mean, it was fine, but I feel like it was over the top, where I just wanted him to be just, I don't know. And I kept thinking, why is Telemachus just hanging out there and not helping him? He's just staring at him all that time. Why didn't he get in the fray?
I did think that scene was too long.
It was so long.
It was long.
And I wanted it to be here, he's back. Everybody knows he's back. The great unveiling, which I guess it was, but it got lost in all of the then 10 minutes of violence.
But I think, and because in the book, like Telemachus and Odysseus' father, and there's a few of them that band together to kill all the suitors, right?
Yes.
But I think the reason they didn't show that in the movie was because they had built up so much the problem of Telemachus can't take the throne and kill all the suitors because he would then have to go into exile, so they can't then have him join in the fray, which makes no sense.
Well, and that was a disappointing end as well.
I want to talk about that. The end. What do we think?
What did you think? I thought it was disappointing.
Okay, what was the end? Sorry,
well, if they haven't seen it, they're not going to want to hear the end.
We've said that there's spoilers.
So Telemachus is staying and Odysseus and Penelope are leaving. They're basically putting themselves into exile, why did they do that?
Right. I thought I was.
I don't know why. What was the purpose of that?
Well, they cut out, like we mentioned, we cut out the whole Odysseus telling his story to, Nestor? Who is it?
It wasn't Nestor.
Whoever he tells the story to. But then I think after that in the book, he goes to the West, he honors the dead, then he comes to Ithaca, right? And so because they cut out his retelling of his own story, they also cut that out and he goes straight from Calypso to Ithaca. And so then they do need to have a way for him to honor the dead. And that's the way he solves the problem.
To do it.
Dan made a comment that there are older retellings of Homer where in fact that's what they do. They do go off into the West. I really didn't like that because I felt like in Homer's telling, the major thing Odysseus is going back for is his family and his place.
Right. And he doesn't even know his son.
Right.
And now he's leaving him before he even gets a chance to get to know him as a person.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
He's been gone his entire life. That was very disappointing to me.
Is it supposed to be a more modern take on closure? Or, like they just
Closure's
drift off?
just you move away and you don't deal with your issues.
Well, it's like a re-problematization. And I think that's very common in modern movies. It's like La La Land, where these two characters are coming together. It's a love story. And then right at the end, symbolically, somebody drives off an off-ramp on the interstate, and it symbolized the whole problem in that movie, which was they never got together. And it's like, that was so utterly disappointing. That's where the story was headed. That's the happy ending that we all want in a story, and you're going to deny this to me?
Right.
So I think it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and they try to make it a happy ending.
Right.
And I think to Americans without roots in place, now I'm getting very Barry-ish, Wendell Berry-ish, but I think for Americans that don't have that root in place, that's a satisfying ending, right? Because
Telemachus is a man now, capable of running the kingdom.
Yeah, but
it's not truly satisfying.
Well, for people that understand plays.
The director of La La Land, in an interview I heard, he said, well, I think bad endings are romantic. No, they're not.
Well, and this one was, you were really looking for them to be a family, which they had not been for 20 years.
Which is what Homer gives us, right? But it's not what the movie gave us.
What did you think about it? I was so happy it ended. I was just...
No, I didn't like it. I didn't like the ending. No.
I was worn out.
But, to me, the cumulative effect of the movie was greatness. There was things, some of those scenes, like the scenes in Hades and a lot of the others, were so utterly great that even the ending didn't quite spoil that.
It was quite well done. And I am glad that I saw it. I just don't want to repeat the experience. It was just too much for me. I don't want to go on that epic journey again.
Well, we also should say it was extremely violent and extremely grotesque in some scenes.
Well, I would not take young children to it at all.
They did not from my perspective, they did not dwell on the violence in the way some movies do. They didn't dwell on the gore, but there was a lot of violence, right?
Which you expect. I expected that because I've read the Odyssey. So I know that it is. It's just that when it's right in front of you, you can't, I mean, your imagination, you don't have to have an imagination.
No.
It is.
No,
it didn't bother me, but it would have bothered my wife.
Yes, my wife would not.
Yeah.
She could not watch that movie.
Right.
Well, it's a good thing we all went together.
I know. This is a fun field trip. It really was.
It was a little Odyssey.
It was. We took an Odyssey. Our own Odyssey.
Yes. But again, like I do want to re-emphasize the point of like, even though there's divergences from Homer, I do not think our criticisms of the divergences should not be taken as then we should not retell these stories today.
Oh,
I think that's
absolutely.
a good point.
Absolutely should be retelling these stories today. It gives us a chance to actually analyze what's going on in our world versus what was going on there. Why do we need to tell ourselves a different story, or why do we need to change these things that are in the original, and what does that tell us about ourselves, right? Like I think that's it is important. We do need to do that.
And is it a bad thing that you have a sort of Christianized hero here? I mean,
Christianized, therapeutic, PTSD-driven.
Well, in the sense of
hero.
but that all is the result of a Christian civilization kind of going off on a tangent, right? But that's why I said it's post-Christian.
Well, it's like a superhero movie they turned it into. It's like a superhero movie. Aren't they always full of angst?
Oh, yes, it is that.
Well, not always. I mean, the earlier ones were not so much that way, but the recent ones are that way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because and again, that gets back to the point of that heroes. We, for some reason, today we can't stand a hero that is just good and strong and just charging forward. We always have to have that self-doubt.
Yep.
And
which I mean, I'm fine with all of the things he struggled with. I think we should all struggle with, but it's not what I was looking for.
Right, and there's always some conflict in a story, but in the old stories, the conflict is more extrinsic. Is you have a good character facing down the bad. Whereas in modern stories, the conflict is internal. It's Freudian. You're expected to self-medicate and make constant plans to improve yourself and do all this stuff that's all through our culture.
It is, but as an art form, pretty good, pretty good art form.
Yeah,
it was well done.
Oh, I think it's
if you want to consider
it was brilliant.
Movies art form,
sure,
a form of art.
Yeah. And you have to see it for what it is, but I think you can enjoy it for what it is, too.
Yeah, I agree. A retelling of
I went home and told my boys they need to go see it because they've read it, they've studied it, they lived with it when they were students here, and I think it's worth seeing. I just don't want to do it again.
I saw this morning online some idea of Mel Gibson doing the Odyssey in the ancient Greek. And I was just thinking, did the Passion, right? And I was like, I would sign up for that. That would be phenomenal. But just only using the words directly out of Homer, right?
Oh, my gosh.
And I mean, I think that would be funny.
It would be.
And enjoyable. But
I don't know if I could sit
I think
through
the
that.
market for that would be quite small.
That's funny. Well, what a fun field trip.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it with you guys.
Even if you haven't read the book, you can still enjoy this.
Definitely.
And get what's happening.
Definitely. You can. Yeah. So from us, it's worth seeing as a piece of art.
It's a piece of art. But it's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah. Well, if you see it again or with anybody else, let us know. Sometimes it takes a minute or a second time around to see new things.
I don't know if I do that. It's going to be in a few months from now.
Yeah. Need a break.
And I need it to come out on some streaming platform for me to watch at home.
Right.
Definitely. Well, thanks for everybody's opinion. And thank you for joining us. We would love to hear your thoughts. So drop us a comment and we would love to see what you think. Thanks. And we'll be back next time. Thanks for joining us today on Classical Etc. by Memoria Press. If you like what you heard, Please like, subscribe, or share this episode or comment. We love to hear your questions and your comments. If you want to learn more about Memoria Press, please go to memoriapress.com. This has been Classical Etc. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll see you next time.